Let's now talk about effects. Probably one of the most powerful tools and one of my favorite tools in all the Affinity suite. Effects will allow you to add a bunch of different things to your tools or to your assets, whatever you want. It is actually a very, very powerful tool to have, not just in Affinity Publisher, but in Affinity Photo, Affinity Designer as well. So what it allows you to do is it allows you to actually add some effects. Yeah, it's obvious, right? So let me just explain it on an example. Let me select this picture frame, and what I will do is I will add effect to the picture frame. Or in this case, what I will do is I will add a drop shadow to this picture frame. So all I need to do is to access the effects studio. So in this case, I don't have it here. So I will edit, remember, view, studios, and effects. And it will appear just like that. And what I will do in this case is I want an outer shadow. I will expand it, press outer shadow. It's there. And I'm going to go and increase the radius just a bit. And I'm going to go and add some offset. Just like that. Boom. You see, it actually added some shadow. You want it to look a bit bigger, like make it blurrier, and add more offset, just like that. It actually interferes with the text. But if you don't want to interfere with the text, you can actually change its angle, just like that. You know what? I'm gonna decrease the offset for it to fit within the frame. Boom. And immediately it feels like this is a 3D object. Doesn't it look great and amazing? It actually looks pretty good. So this is how you can actually use the effects. But let's actually talk about the effects themselves. What kind of effects you can add, just to show you that there are not a lot of effects in this tool. It's actually pretty abysmal, but still it's more than enough for you to have your artistic imaginations run wild. Let's turn off the outer shadow. There's also Gaussian blur that can add blur to your pictures if you want to do so. There is actually inner shadow as well, right here. It is same as an outer shadow, but it actually adds shadow inside, within. Let's increase the radius and increase the offset, and as you can see, it's right there. It's right there. You can actually add an opacity if you want, increase the radius, and it gives you a effect that it sounds like inside of a hole or something like that. Very beautiful tool as well. Let's go with an outer glow. It's very similar to the outer shadow, but instead of making it darker, it can make it whiter. You can actually make it different color. Let's go with it like red color. It's like glows outside. You can actually change it beyond 100 pixels. You can go with 1,000 pixels if you want. It's not gonna be a big problem. Don't worry about the slider. Inner glow, exactly the same as an outer glow, but because it's white in this case, it just showed you something like that. It's disappearing to the background. This is actually a very cool thing that you could use. If you want a different color, that's actually how it looks. That's actually what it looks like exactly in this case. You can go and like make it 500 if you want. No problem. It actually glow the entire picture. Outline, it's very straightforward. It adds outline to the outside of your picture frame in this case. No matter what type of frame, no matter what shape of the frame you'll have, it will add an outline outside, or I think you can add it even inside if you want. Not in this. You can actually press this one and add an alignment to the outside as well. Yes, if you didn't know, you can add an additional things from here as well. You can add 3D effects if you want. It will make it look 3D. I don't know. I never use this, to be fair, because I don't like this effect. Bevel, emboss, something like 3D as well. You can get a color overlay if you want, and decrease an opacity, just like that. Like make it a bit darker if you want, or if you can make it like red overlay if you wish. I usually use a shape over, but this is actually the easier tool to do. And the same is with a gradient overlay. You can actually do the exact same thing with a gradient, like going from the dark to the bright. If you want to change the color, so again, if you can go right here, you can even change the type of gradient. You can reverse the gradient. You can change where gradient starts and ends, etc., etc. It's a very cool thing and a very cool tool. One thing is that you can add only one effect of each. You cannot add an additional effects. That's the bad thing that happens with here. But there is actually a workaround around this. I'm just giving you a bit of an advanced tip right now. If you want a outer shadow, and then you want to add an outer shadow around an outer shadow, you can go and right click and press rasterize. And no, don't preserve layer effects, and press rasterize. And as you can see, the picture with the shadow became the picture itself. And now I can add an outer shadow to the outer shadow if I want to do so. Additional outer shadow. It does not look, of course, that great, but if I wanted an additional shadows, I can do that. Oh, I can rasterize this one as well. Rasterize. And I can add another outer shadow if I want, that is in this side with an increased radius. And I can add like whatever number that I want. Let me just Control Z this one because it does not look that great. So this was all about the effects. You can do the same thing that I taught you about the effects, about rasterizing with any effects that you want. So you can work around, play around with this. But this was all about the effects. It's actually a very simple thing to work with, and you can actually apply different effects to the different elements in your composition. So this will be it for this one. Let's go to the next one then.